Now, add me to this pile. End my suffering.
We've heard the most powerful, the most life-changing, the most stirring things said about the ancient Greek stories we perform, these ancient war stories, by individuals who have lived lives of mythological proportions, who have faced the stakes of life and death, who have loved, who have lost, who know the meaning of sacrifice. It's our contention that these are their stories and that we have more to learn from them than to teach them. And that led us to hospitals, and hospitals led to the military, and the military led to prison, and prison led to addiction. We have 22 projects that have all grown out of this central idea that the audience knows more than we do, that the audience is the translator.
You would rather die than hear what I'm about to say. A divine madness poisoned his mind, tainting his name during the night. Our home is a slaughterhouse, littered with cow carcasses and goats gushing thick blood, throats slit, horn to horn by his hand, evil omens of things to come.
I identify with the character of Ajax because I feel like even the people around him knew that he was a strong man, the strongest. And yet, even his own wife said, "What are these weak words coming out of this strong warrior?" Because there was no recognition of what was going on.
One of the things that I really identified with Tecmessa when she talked about how Ajax was her homeland and her life. I left my home, I left my school, I left my friends, I left my job. And 13 years later, I've never been able to go back to that. Because unfortunately, he is one of the ones that's been left behind. We've been lucky to get very good clinical care. It's almost just enough went wrong that he did get excellent clinical care, but 13 years later, the resources aren't there for... We've learned to save people's lives, but we don't have the resources to give them their lives back.
Now drive the unbreakable stake straight through his rib cage into the cliff.
Prometheus! I groan with you as if your pain were mine.
Be careful who you groan for you may end up groaning yourself.
How can you witness his pain and not avert your eyes?
It's easy to watch him get what he deserves. Do not forget to lock the bar around his waist.
Yes, I know.
The person who was hammering down Prometheus, that's like a correction officer starting off new in the job. Like not wanting to do that, but having to do that one, and then 6 months later, they completely lost their humanity.
But I love the play because the way he was so stubborn and feeling like, yo, I was right. No matter how you look at it, I feel the same way sometimes.
Even though it was written so long ago, it still touches base today of how violence can affect those individuals.
What is your only child's name?
Prometheus.
And whose head do you hold in your hands?
A lion's head. At least that's what the Bacchant said.
Look closely.
I see the greatest grief.
The woman that held the head,
Agave.
Right, Agave, that was so symbolic of like, what have I done waking up in the morning? I woke up and there's proverbial blood on my hands. This play was interesting because it showed how divisive the addiction can be.
I guess when I think about what Sophocles was up to, I think he was up to finding some format so that we can all talk about this, because in talking about this, we heal. And we hear each other's stories, and we can feel them and cry with them and empathize with them, and I think that's what he was doing.
I speak to those who understand!